Cloud computing is one of the most popular technologies of this day. So in this video, we will understand what cloud computing is, what are the services being offered by cloud, and what are the benefits and drawbacks for any cloud computing technology. So without any delay, let's get started. Now imagine a scenario that currently you own an ice cream shop. Now this ice cream shop is working smoothly and there are no issues with the operations. Someone comes to you and say that, hey, what is the website for your ice cream shop? And you be like, oh, I actually haven't created any website. Let me hire someone and create a simple website because it's a very small neighborhood ice cream shop that you are currently having up and running. So you hire someone, that some person gives you the code for the ice cream, you purchase a domain and you decide to host your website in your local computer that you keep on 24/7 up and running. Now this becomes your server where your current ice cream website is hosted and that is up and running. Currently you are expecting maybe like 100 people visit the website throughout the day and there are no issues in that regard. Your website runs smoothly. Suddenly you realize that now you are gaining much more traction and your ice cream shop is becoming more and more popular. You decide to open more locations, you decide to add much more flavors, you are having discounted coupons and all of these now new herd of people rushing towards your ice cream shop. At the same time, many curious people decides to check out your website thinking that maybe if they need some information that what are your new locations, where it is located, they might be able to check it over there. And suddenly now you realize that for your ice cream shop, instead of receiving like 100 clients a day, now you are seeing traffic like maybe 10,000 people a day. And currently the server that you have hosted or your local computer is no longer able to take up the load. In this scenario, many of the people are not able to access the website and that could result in a potential lost revenue. Now you being the owner of the ice cream shop, you only care about serving ice cream to people and bringing in much more clients as much as possible. You don't want to worry about what server is, how can I increase the capacity, what is the vertical scaling, what is horizontal scaling, how can I add more nodes. What if you decide to buy like bunch of different servers and you realize that now it's winter time and suddenly your demand is down and now you have all of this expensive equipment that is no longer being useful or it is underutilized. So you don't want to get into all of that fuss. In that scenario, you suddenly find out that, hey, there are these companies like Amazon, Google or Microsoft. They are providing something called cloud services. And what they are saying is that you keep the code of your website that you have created and all you need to do is, instead of having that piece of code running in some of the local server or local computer that you used to own, why don't you push that code into one of the cloud computing that we have created that contains all of these massive data centers, and in this data center you can basically run your code and we can give you the guarantee that if you realize that now there are more people trying to access your website, automatically your website is going to scale up. If there are less people who are no longer interested, automatically we will reduce down the number of servers you need. Plus we will guarantee you that your servers would be up and running for like 99.9% of the time. You can also decide that now I am deciding to go out internationally or globally and now I expect the traffic to come in from like East Coast and West Coast and Canada and Europe and all the other places. We can also accommodate that. So you being an ice cream shop owner, of course you are going to feel this as much more convenient option because now you can focus more on what's necessary for your business, that is to focus on how to serve best ice cream, and you don't care about how your piece of website or code gets scaled up, scaled down and handle all the traffic. All you need to do is just pay some amount of money and ship all of this piece of technology onto their servers. This is what cloud computing is, where you have these entities that contains massive data centers. These data centers are secure, they have all the latest and greatest technology, they take care of most of the stuff and your services runs seamlessly for the simple piece of money you are paying, and you are no longer tied down to owning the entire equipment or all the servers for yourself, which means it is a matter of great convenience. Plus it offers very good security, scalability, reliability, availability, all of those beautiful lities. So in this scenario, this is the core concept of cloud computing. Now the question is, what are different services being offered by many different cloud providers? There are hundreds of services. I'm not even toning it down. If you take a look at like Microsoft Azure, they have over 600 services for many different things that you can think of. Same goes for AWS and Google Cloud Platform and whatnot. But the thing is, at the very like 35,000 feet level, we can distribute these services into three main categories. First one is infrastructure as a service, second one is a platform as service, and third one is software as service. So today, now let's talk about each one of them, and we will try to understand this with a real life example. So what infrastructure as service means is that the cloud provider, that is AWS, Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud Platform, they are giving you the guarantee that, hey, instead of you worrying about the infrastructure or the hardware, that is basically your server, your data cables, your connectivity points, all of that stuff, we are going to take care of it. You don't worry about it. We will give you the latest and greatest server that money can buy. And then it's up to your responsibility however you want to treat them. You decide you want a Linux server or Windows server. Once you get the server, you decide what type of software you want to put in. If you want that server to play a video game, we don't care. If you want that server to host your website, we don't care. If you want to host your own Kubernetes cluster, we don't care. They are just giving you the physical equipment, and then you are responsible for how you are going to take care of it. They will be responsible behind the scenes to manage that existing piece of software. So let's try to understand this with a real life scenario. And that scenario is that imagine that you decide to go to a car shop, and at that car shop you decide that, hey, I'm going to lease this car for next 3 years and then I'm going to keep it with me. So the leasing company is going to be like that, okay, you can lease the car, you take the car with you. We have all of these contracts that for the next 3 years, you are going to drive this car not over 60,000 kilometers, and you can keep it and pay like weekly amount of $200, something like that. That is an example of infrastructure as a service model, where the physical infrastructure, that is the whole car, that car is being given to you, and then with that car, you are responsible to fueling it up, making sure that regular oiling and all of that stuff you are doing, and driving wherever you want to. Plus you have the full control on how you want to take care of the car. And by the end of the term, all you need to do is you just go back to the dealership and return the car and get a new one. That's it. So if any bad thing happens to the car, if the engine goes down, if engine blows up, you are no longer responsible. All you need to do is just go back to the dealership and return back the keys and bring the new set of keys and come back with the new car. That is the whole concept, where you are using the infrastructure that the cloud computers has to provide, or the cloud provider has to give you as a service. Now, second example is a platform as a service. Now in this platform as a service, you are already getting the whole infrastructure as a service. That is for sure. On top of it, they are taking care of most of the stuff. They are taking care of the operating system. They are taking care of the connections. They are taking care of what type of services are going to be placed in there. And then all you need to do is you just come in with your piece of code, you put that code, and most of the stuff is already configured by them. They are taking care of it, and you just enjoy and you just watch it run. The example of this is that imagine you go to a place like Enterprise or Hertz, where you decide to rent out the car for maybe like next 2 or 3 days. In this scenario, you are paying slightly higher money, but you don't care what happens to the car. You know that car is going to be well maintained. You don't have to worry about oiling the car. You don't have to worry about checking the brakes or brake pad in the car, because all of those things are taken care by the Hertz people. All you need to do is just fuel up the car and drive wherever you want to, come back and give the car back, which means you are only taking care of the platform. Or in our computer science term, you are only taking care of the actual physical code that you are going to deploy. and then you just tell them that, hey, my code should be running at minimum 10 instances and at maximum 50 instances, and these are my parameters to scale up and scale down, and this type of security I want, and they have all the functionality figured out for you to use. And that is platform as a service. Now the third and most convenient service is software as a service, where software as a service is that they as in cloud computing software providers are taking care of every single thing. You don't even have to worry about anything. All you need to do is just tell them that, hey, this is the functionality I want, and I don't care how you do it, I just want it to be done. If you want to understand an example of a software as a service, you can think of ride-sharing applications like Uber and Lyft and Ola. Because in this scenario, neither you are owning the car, nor you care about maintaining the car, nor you even care about putting the gas in the car or paying for the tolls on the road on the car. You are just saying that, hey, this is my starting point, this is my ending point. I just want to get from point A to point B. I don't care how you do it, what car you are going to send me. I'm willing to pay for it. Just give me this service and get me there. And that's it. That is what software as service is. So in the computer science term, you can think of it like services like Gmail, because that is a very popular software as a service where you don't care how the software works. You are not sure that what happens in the backend, how Google handles your mail traffic and how they route your data. All you care about that this is the mail address and I want my email to go from point A to point B, and that's it. So these are the three set of services that cloud has to offer. Now there are much more services that have been added, but still at its core, this is the generic concept of cloud computing. I'm not going too much detail into all of those other services, but let me know in the comments if you want to see that. And next thing is, what are some of the benefits that cloud computing has to offer? So number one benefit cloud computing has to offer is cost efficiency, because you are only paying for what you use. You are not paying for unnecessary underperforming servers. You are not even worried about that suddenly if you see a boom in the incoming traffic and now you have to scramble around to find the resources. You are guaranteed that all the load is going to be distributed and routed accordingly, and your traffic will be served, but you would be charged for that, which means that there is a point of cost efficiency in terms of how with your usage. Second one is scalability and flexibility. You are flexible that I want my servers to up and running in Chicago. That's it. You just click some buttons and now your code has been deployed into the servers that are closest to the Chicago. You don't worry about it. Same way you have the scalability that suddenly if you see rise in the traffic, they can handle the load. Suddenly if you see the traffic goes down, they can also take care of it. If you see that traffic is coming out from many different geographic locations, you can just geo redundant your data and that's it. Then it takes care of automatically. So there is a lot less headache on your part in order to maintain the servers. And last one is accessibility and collaboration. You can actually have bunch of different more people who are able to access your servers from anywhere, and they can collaborate, and also it becomes easier for your teams to maintain these services. So there are great benefits in terms of cloud computing, but nothing good comes for free, and there are some drawbacks as well. So number one drawback is that there are huge security and privacy concerns, and because now your servers are up and running in someone else's data center, that is a point of concern. In that scenario, cloud companies have came up with the option that if you want, you can have your own private cloud or hybrid cloud or public cloud, but in either case there is still a matter of concern that your servers are running in someone else's data center. Next one is there is a huge dependency on the internet connectivity. So of course, because your servers are connected via internet with each other, so if that fails or if one data center fails, you are at risk of potentially losing some customers or some transactions. But even in your scenario, your applications would have also been connected with the internet. So I wouldn't say that this is like a major point of concern, but still it is there. And next one is there is a limitation on type of customization and control you can actually have. Though cloud computing provides lot more services and they have thought about many different scenarios, there can still be some peculiar things that you wants to do your way that you would not be able to, and you would have to follow what AWS or GCP or Azure is dictating you to do. Anyways, needless to say, they are much more flexible, but still these are some of the concerns. So in conclusion, we can say that cloud computing is great. It is here to stay. Definitely there are a lot more advantages than disadvantages, and that's why it is becoming more and more popular these days. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about cloud computing? Did I miss any points? And I know this was just an introductory session towards the technology of cloud computing, but in the future we are going to make much more in-depth videos about different services that cloud has to offer. I just wanted to create like a baby step first position in order for us to move forward. Okay, so till then, take care.